maybe have more movies to look at, more places to eat, and I can always find something over there. I don't want to do this, but I'm stubborn enough to do it. And I really feel it's just a ploy to grab.
Thank you.
Jim Van Beesler Jr., 1704 Countryside Drive. One thing that I haven't heard anyone bring up that is a great concern to me, we have 3 through streets in the city of Pittsburgh. We have Joplin, we have Rouse, and we have Broadway. We shut down one of those, we lose access for a lot of people to the hospital. Rouse is our best spot, but we're already talking about putting a stoplight at Rouse, which is going to stop traffic. We've got trains, 10 trains a day across those tracks there is stopping traffic. You can't get down Broadway because of all the lights. We're eliminating some access to the hospital. It's going to save somebody's lives at some point in time. I have a small business here, and times are tough for us as well. And you mentioned, Dr. Bryant, that you're going to be seeing some years in the future that's going to be tough. But I don't have $39 million that's given to me by the people in this room. Now, if safety is of a concern, I would say let's put covered escalators at the library and at, is it Hecker Hall? Right there, to move people over Joplin Street, eliminate parking on Joplin, and let's finish out Joplin Street to make it a thoroughfare through there. When I was 10 years old, I watched the construction of Joplin Street north to Atkinson from 20th, 4-lane. All the talk was that was going to be a through street in 40 years, all the way through to the mall. We put in the access that the university asked for, up to Ford Street, 4-lane, and it's been squelched from that point. We've got a lot of homes to buy, but I, as one taxpayer, I don't want to see money that we have spent on a street, maintaining the street, and plowing the street, and everything else that we've done for the last 80 years be given away over an issue of safety. If safety is an issue, we can get some of you out there doing crossing guard to get the little tots across, back and forth across the road. I have 3 of your students work part-time for me. I brought this issue to all 3 of them and asked them what they thought. Their comment was embarrassment. First of all, they're allowed to vote, they're allowed to drink, they're allowed to drive. We can put them in the fronts overseas fighting morons, but we can't trust them to cross the street. I think that you're embarrassing me. And I think that this has nothing to do with safety. It's for other purposes.
Amen.
And that's my thoughts. Thank you.
I'm Joy Leeper, and I live on South Broadway, and I wanted to kind of follow up on what this lady said, because I think basically what we're all here to do is to speak truth to power. I mean, we appreciate that PSU is a big business, the biggest business in our town, but this is, after all, a town, first and finally. And if safety were the true issue, I agree with her that it's a ploy. It's not really safety is not the real issue. If it were, why wouldn't they close it at a crosswalk? There's no crosswalk in front of the stadium. Drive down Joplin Street like I do often. There's no crosswalk in front of the stadium. So it makes no sense. I think that's the ploy, to say, oh, it's safety, but they really want to do something else in front of the stadium.
Sure. I'm Don Warbuck. I live at 211 Crestwood. My thing is, if you're going to look at the college campus today, what street do you drive down? There's only one. It has actual library on it. It has a stadium on it. It has beautiful buildings. Why don't we make a big effort to show it off on Joplin? Interesting.
My name's Ben Peters.
I live over on East Belleville, just off Joplin. I'm close to the university. I have been for years. I've got to second what several of these people have said about safety not really being an issue. I think this is more about the university just trying to make itself have a better image, a bigger image. Joplin is the connection this town has to that campus. And I can remember when I came here to school that this town really didn't acknowledge the campus too well. It was over there, but they didn't really pay much attention to it until I think in the late 80s, the economic study showed it fed about $80 million a year into the economy. Dr. Bryant says now it's about $190 million. The money's not everything. People do feel a sense of ownership about that campus and about the school as an educational institution. And they feel a sense of pride. And Joplin is the way they can experience it. They drive down through it. It's been said that the campus is an east-west campus in a north-south town. You close off Joplin Street, and it becomes an east-west barrier. And then it becomes that thing out there. Then no one really wants to, you know, I mean, they'll go to football games, someone will tell you to be there. But it's not something to be proud of. It's just an obstacle. So, if you want everybody to be involved in the campus, and you want, you know, the campus wants to act responsibly towards the town, then I think they should push to keep the street open.
I'm Virginia Darling, and I live on Franklin Street. I have a daughter who is attending PSU. She uses Joplin Street all the time to get to classes. I use Joplin Street a lot. I think how many people do we have in our community of Pittsburgh? I don't know, 20,000? Okay. I agree with everything. I think the emergency situation is a big thing. My husband works at the hospital. He said that's a big thing for the ambulances to get to the hospital. We're going to close one of our main arteries. It's a main artery. Besides reiterating, because I agree with absolutely everything. Being a teacher, I'm really concerned about the children at George Nettles, because I think many people will go to Homer. But I think that the life of 20,000 people in Pittsburgh, I highly respect Mr. Bryant, Dr. Bryant, and the staff. I've been to the school, I have attended, I've received an excellent education, and know the staff, but I think that it's not a safety issue. I think that the population of Pittsburgh should be considered, of 20,000 people, more than 6,600 students. And we are taxpayers.
Lady over here.
I said I wasn't gonna talk tonight, I was just gonna come, because I sent you all a letter. Ardella Hubbard
Okay, thank you.
in 2705 Noview. I sent you all a letter, I just wanted you to know who wrote that letter. In 1965 or 64, Leonard asked the city for access to the college. And Mary Kate, I gave Mary Kate the paper, it has a date on it. And the city gave that access. And that was Cleveland, and then they started working on Joplin. But Joplin was so stopped up on both ends that it took years to accomplish. And the young man there in the brown shirt, he said it all.